Welcome, everyone, to the Apoco-Larry podcast. I'm Steve, and he is...
Father Christmas. Well, Father Christmas Van Beek.
Yeah,
yeah.
the Dutch version of Santa.
The Dutch, they call him Father Christmas, don't they? But it's Santa Claus.
Santa Claus,
Yeah, which is Saint Nicholas in many places. Who was, by the way, I think he was a 4th century priest, and he used to help girls that were sold into prostitution by putting gold in their boots or in their shoes. So the Dutch song goes, Sinterklaas kapuntje, gooi wat in my schoentje, gooi wat in my lasje. So Santa Claus, you little joker or something like that, throw something in my shoe or throw something in my boot.
Oh.
Yeah, thank you, Santa Claus, because that's how he helped people. And then I think he died as a martyr.
Okay.
Yeah. So someone was telling me that the actual Santa Claus from the States was actually from a Coke commercial. And I don't know if that was correct or not. That Coke developed the little dressed in red elf-like guy. Though I've always said that Santa Claus is Canadian, because he comes from the north.
Yeah, that's right. Yes.
And he dresses in red like the Mount. He's probably a Mountie that got lost.
Yeah, that's right. And said, hey, there's this great big house up here and all these little weird people running around. Let's make some toys and start pulling this stuff all around the world.
Yeah, let's do it. So very Canadian.
Yes. Well, tonight, my friend, we're going to take a look at 1 Samuel 31. And anything you want to say about it?
Yeah, just this is the end of a life lived not quite so well, but of a guy that I kind of like in lots of ways. But it's the end of Saul's life and the end of his son, who we love, might be the most loved guy in the Bible, is Jonathan.
Yeah.
Who was David's good friend and loved his father, but stood up to his father for his best friend Dave.
Yeah.
And this is where Jonathan meets his end. And they say so very little about it. They just kind of say, and he was killed.
Yeah.
So it's a very sad story, really.
Yeah. Okay, verse 1. Now the Philistines fought against Israel, and the Israelites fled before them. And many fell dead. Oh gosh, it's going to be tough right now. On Mount Gilboa. The Philistines were in hot pursuit of Saul and his sons, and they killed his sons Jonathan, Abinadab, and Malchi-Shua. Or Malchi-Shua. Malchi-Shua. I don't know. I'm trying. The fighting grew fierce around Saul, and when the archers overtook him, they wounded him critically. Saul said to his armor-bearer, "Draw your sword and run me through, or these uncircumcised fellows will come and run me through and abuse me."
Yeah, so as far as we know, this is the battle that David, it might be a different battle, but I think it's still that battle that David was not allowed to be part of, remember? He was gonna show up with the Philistines, which would have been really interesting because he would have turned against the Philistines at some point in this battle.
Right.
But remember Ashish really liked David and couldn't keep him, so Dave took his 600 guys and they went back and fought back the other way.
Yeah.
Right? And so now the rest of the Philistines now pursue Saul and his army, and they're about to kill him. But it's kind of interesting because Saul says, "Draw your sword and run me through," to his armor bearer, because I don't want these uncircumcised fellows to abuse me. And you get the impression that he would not want to be caught by them because they would kill him in a slow and a shameful and a dastardly manner.
Yeah.
Which often happens in wars. Like in the Vietnam War, they did terrible things to the U.S. soldiers.
Yeah.
We never hear the terrible things that were done to them, but we do hear that they did terrible things just to frighten and upset the soldiers.
Right.
And they said some of the things they did to the bodies, they desecrated the bodies and really actually just made the other soldiers more angry and more anxious to fight and kill them.
Right.
Than to make them scared. But that's what Saul was facing here.
Yeah. Okay, second half of verse 4. But his armor bearer was terrified and would not do it. So Saul took his own sword and fell on it. When the armor bearer saw that Saul was dead, he too fell on his sword and died with him. So Saul and his 3 sons and his armor bearer and all his men died together that same day.
Yeah. So you gotta love the armor bearer. Now, first of all, he's terrified. He doesn't want to kill Saul because you just don't want to do that. So Saul falls on his own sword. And then his armor bearer kills himself, we, which is very Asian.
Mm.
This whole sign of honor. And Israel is Asia, is part of Asia. We used to call it Asia Minor, but it is Asia.
Mm.
And they might have had very different traditions, but this guy did feel like if my master dies, then I'm going to die with him. So
Right.
very honorable. But this ends Saul's line now. Now God said that was going to happen. When Saul messed up, God said that was going to happen. And it's very upsetting that Jonathan, because we love him so much, that he has to be the one to die for his father's sins.
Yeah.
But remember, in the Old Testament, that was sort of the way it was.
Mm.
And it happened lots of times when Israel, when they were fighting at Jericho or after Jericho. Remember, they got to Ai, and they fought there, and that guy, the guy who caused the sin, that he and his whole family were stoned to death.
Right. That's right.
So this wasn't uncommon.
Yeah.
It was a very common thing. But in this case, it's God's judgment that killed those guys.
Right.
So now Saul's gone.
Okay, verse 7. When the Israelites along the valley and those across the Jordan saw that the Israelite army had fled, and that Saul and his sons had died, they abandoned their towns and fled. And the Philistines came and occupied them. The next day, when the Philistines came to strip the dead, they found Saul and his 3 sons fallen on Mount Gilboa.
That's kind of neat. That's something that I didn't expect. And yet they killed Saul and his guys and the soldiers that were with him. And then they went back to attack the villages. And everybody cleared out for fear. Because I would have thought someone would have picked up Saul's body, but nobody did. Because maybe there was nobody around to do it, to kind of pull him back from the front.
Right.
And so then they capture Saul's body.
Okay, but verse 9, right? They cut off his head, and they stripped off his armor, and they sent messengers throughout the land of the Philistines to proclaim the news in the temple of the idols and among their people. They put his armor in the temple of the Asherists and fastened his body to the wall of Bethshan. When the people sorry, go ahead.
No, that's okay. Just pretty rough what they did to people in those days.
Mercy, yeah.
Not uncommon. Even in Canada, United States, in the early days, when they show war pictures, they would do that kind of thing. To cut off a head and hang it on a wall was really not uncommon. Kind of gruesome for us.
Yeah.
But that's what they did, and so Saul is his head somewhere, and then his body's nailed to the wall.
Right.
And naked, because remember, his armor's somewhere else.
Right.
Yeah.
Verse 11. When the people of Jabesh Gilead heard that what the Philistines had done to Saul, all their valiant men marched through the night to Bethshan. They took down the bodies of Saul and his sons from the wall of Bethshan and went to Jabesh, where they burned them. Then they took their bones and buried them under a tamarisk tree at Jabesh, and they fasted for 7 days.
Yeah, pretty good guys, eh? Pretty good guys. The valiant men from there. I like that the author calls them valiant men. But they would have had to fight their way up to that wall because, well, there might have just been guards that they had to kill. But I don't think they just walked up and took it down.
Yeah, it wasn't like it was like, oh, well, we'll just leave them here. It's fine.
Yeah. Well, let's go get something to eat. Like we hung them on the wall.
Yeah.
But these valiant guys bring them back. And the only thing that makes me sad is I really wish David was the one that went and got him. Remember, there were a couple times when he took Saul's stuff and then gave it back because he wouldn't kill Saul. It would have been nice if he was the one that took the body down.
Right.
But he didn't. He didn't. He was somewhere else altogether.
Right.
And now Saul's lineage has ended. He, like you were saying to me earlier, Steve, he was their first king. They, Samuel tried to keep them from having a king, but they desperately wanted a king. And now they've had a king, and Saul did a lot of wonderful things. He united all of Israel. Israel was 12 and a half separate tribes, right? And the first king had to unite these tribes so that they would get together and fight together as a unit. And whenever a war happened, you had to bring people in from all over to help you fight that war. But Saul now has had what did he have with him? Was it 3,000 men?
Mm-hmm.
So he had an army that stayed with him all the time. So he had a professional army.
Right.
But still, I mean, you were fighting people like inside of the Palestine area, and you were fighting people from outside, and he had to pull all this stuff together. So he actually, as a king, he did a pretty good job.
Yeah, he did unify the country, right?
He really did. Where he failed is he put himself above God.
Right.
I don't know how else to say it. David made worse mistakes than Saul, but he never put himself above God.
Right.
And maybe that's the difference between the two of them.
Right.
But anyway, so he stopped serving God that day with Saul. Remember, with the bleating of the sheep, and shortly after that, God said, "I'm not going to let you keep this kingdom."
Yeah.
Yeah. And now he's gone, and I think we would have liked him.
Yeah.
Yeah.
In some ways, he seems like a great guy. A little impulsive, but a great guy.
Yeah. Remember, we were saying that I'd like to have a doctor look at this, and like a medical doctor, and say, what was going on with Saul? Like, was he manic depressive? Was he schizophrenic? Was there a demon thing going on?
Yeah.
Like, because he would be really happy, and he'd be sad that he was bad to David, and then he would try to kill him again.
Yeah.
Throw a spear at him. Remember, we were saying that. Fortunately, he was no good with a spear, obviously.
Yeah, seemed to take it with him everywhere he went, though.
Yeah, he kept it with him. It's a good thing he didn't fight Goliath. He couldn't hit anything with that spear. Yeah. So.
Oh, that's fantastic.
Fantastic. But anyway, now he's gone, and it's opened the door for what God told David he was going to become.
Yeah. Well, folks, an appropriate time for us to come to the end of the year and the end of our podcast year, because we'll take a little bit of a break over the Christmas season and then come back and start on 2 Samuel, and we'll see how God works out David's kingdom of Israel, or David's as the king of Israel. So thankful that you come along with us every week. Like I said, it'll be maybe, I don't know, the first or second week of January when we get back at it, but we're looking forward to doing this again for you in 2026. And just thanks for listening. Until next time, I was Steve, he was Larry, and this was the Apoco-Larry Podcast.